Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people. This is the Benefactor Glendale Custom, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road. That's right, we continue with Will It Off-Road, though this is our next to the last week of regular Will It Off-Road testing, and then 2 weeks after that, we will do Will It Off the Road, Will It Off the Road, Will It Off-Road at the races, where we will take the two fastest from the past several weeks as well as the two slowest. Bit of a different line there, but hey, what are you going to do? But we'll race the two fastest, two slowest up and back down Mount Chiliad, where you'll see lots of cheating and a bunch of unnecessary props that have been added to the mountain to make it glamorous. Not that it's not already a glamorous mountain. I mean, anything owned by the Vainglorious is already pretty freaking awesome. So, Mount Chiliad, one of the most one of the most glamorous places in all of San Andreas. So the Glendale Custom gets a pretty good. I mean, it's not a huge performance boost over the regular Glendale, but it is faster. Plus, I like the minor tweaks to the car's overall design. That it's based on a slightly different interpretation of the old Mercedes Dictator's car. If we would have had that crash, I bet we could have gotten a much better time. But it's not that this car is going to get a bad time, honestly. Even with that incident, and I think, if I remember right at the very top, it struggles a little bit. I don't know. It's been over a week since we recorded this. And, I've slept and had a 12-hour stream since then. So, yeah, that's right. I did a 12-hour stream. Watch for those archives coming in about 2 weeks. I'm going to not put the whole 12 hours up. It was one video. I'm going to break it down into like 2-hour chunks. Kind of a per game type thing. I think that'll make it a lot better. But anyway, I like the Glendale Custom a lot. I like it better now as a lowrider than I did just the regular Glendale, and I loved the regular Glendale. I thought it was a great looking car, and I enjoyed having it. I liked that I owned it, and I drove it, not all the time, but I did drive it. And I just like the design of this one a little bit better. I like that the wheels don't get a huge stance on them when you turn it into a lowrider, so that made me happy. So a lot of times I'm not a big fan of the stance look on the different lowriders, but this one seems to have escaped getting the stand station. But here we are coming up around the backside at under the 3-minute mark. Unfortunately, we're not going to see the top of the mountain, I don't think, here at 3 minutes, because it struggled to find that place where it could get enough grip here. You could hear on the engine, I was modulating the power quite a bit, just trying to get it to find grip and be able to get up. But with a little bit of a run up to it, we finally got up there. But the rest of the climb was effortless. So, will it off-road? Yeah, 3 minutes, 16 seconds. Not a bad time for a sedan at all. In fact, that makes it 5th out of the 20 sedans that we have tested in GTA Online. Makes it 1 minute and 55 seconds faster than the regular Glendale coming up the mountain. So that little bit of extra power really did help it. Still couldn't help it get up that last final climb. But it did get up, and I think Commander Hobo, if you saw his car there, you could see why this was 1 minute 55 faster. Where is Shin going? Where is everybody going? No, that was Doggy that went tumbling down and Shin's chasing him. Okay. Hey, at least they're benefactors. But one of the reasons this is faster than the regular Glendale is it has a lower center of gravity. Commander Hobo kept having trouble with his regular Glendale wanting to roll over on it a lot. And if I remember right, and I could be mistaken here because it's been a long time, but if I recall correctly, I have the same problem with the Glendale, even though I don't have luggage on the top of mine. In that it just really wanted to roll over all the time. But I'm not struggling with that here. The only thing I struggle with is this is the rear end's a little bit loosey-goosey and kind of wants to slide around. So I just have to be aware of that. But other than that, yeah, there you go. The perfect example. Back end kind of came around on me. But other than that, this car was really effortless to drive up and down the mountain. And excuse me while I take a drink of water. I missed the hiker, so I don't know why he had to use such profanity. God, I would never use such coarse language, sir. How dare you? Everybody who watches my videos and streams are like, Brandon, come on. So, coming down the mountain, the landings are hard when you jump, but not uncontrolled. It doesn't bounce around. The front or back end doesn't want to kick up. It just lands and keeps moving forward, which I kind of appreciate. It makes driving this thing back down the mountain really simple, quite honestly. And you can see I'm being quite aggressive on the throttle here, often even missing my apex. No, there's really an apex in this, but I'm often missing my line that I usually follow. But there's that back end once again wanting to step out on me. But if you're aware that this car does that, you can get it around the turns and the corners in the dirt without too much of a problem. We are down in 2 minutes, 34 seconds. So let's magically teleport back to the top of Mount Chiliad like that. It's not magic, it's editing, but fling this car off the side, followed by a group of benefactors, and then whatever somebody else is driving, and probably not a benefactor. And see, oh yeah, watch this. This is a neat little trick. Yeah, Donkey managed to blow up right next to me, somehow not taking me out. But it did do a significant amount of damage to my car. You can already hear it in the engine if you listen closely. The engine is rattling very bad. And by the time we get to the bottom of the mountain, smoke will be pouring out of this engine just from the rest of the abuse that is piled onto it through our damage descent. Like that, you know, getting hit by a newer benefactor and then an older benefactor, or maybe a newer benefactor. I don't know. I think this body style is actually based on the older Mercedes, and the Glendale itself is based on one slightly newer. I could be wrong about that. Ooh, there we got a good glimpse of a glimpse. We heard the engine rattle there, and now that didn't help at all. I'm already up here above the railroad track, so I figured, hey, why not just stay up here? And you can see that smoke just pouring out of the engine bay now. Honestly, I'm truly surprised this car did not catch on fire and just die. That is how much smoke is coming out of there. It's bad, and it was really down on the power. Like, I can feel it. When I was driving through here, I could tell the car was down on power because it had so much damage to the engine. Doesn't stop me from trying to go over the wood pile and hitting it like I always do anyway. But we are down in 1 minute, 50 seconds. Let's take a look at the significant amount of damage. All the windows and lights are gone. The hood and both bumpers, along with the front doors, are gone. The rear doors in the trunk will not close. The wheels are bent. There is body damage, and there is very severe engine damage. That's a lot of smoke coming out of there. Take a look at our sport vehicles. Donkey blew up, so he has to do the face palm of shame. He was also about to murder Sven in that shot. But that brings us to our next vehicle. The Vapid Peyote Custom. Beautiful car. The Peyote's always been a beautiful car. And don't mind the passenger door not closing. That was my bad, as they say. I was trying to either hang up the phone or get out of the interaction menu, and I hit B one too many times, and so my character kicked the car door, and I was standing on that side. This peyote is a peyote I've had since way back in the Xbox 360 days. It is one of the NPC modified rare peyotes. That's why it gets the slightly special paint job that it did retain when, now here in 2020, we drive it off the road and upgrade it into the custom variant, which is a slightly better version of the peyote. It's slightly faster, um, but not by much, and we'll talk about that once we get to the top of the mountain. Um, but you know, you get a couple more customization options, but mainly you get the liveries, and I think they did a really good job on the liveries for the peyote overall. I especially like this one. I think it accentuates the lines of the car really, really well. And while it is a pretty significant livery, that's not the word I'm really looking for. There's a lot to it. It's detailed. You know, normally the liveries I put in are very slight, just minor things. This one has a lot going on. It's fairly busy. But that busyness does not detract away from any of the lines of the car. They really flow with the lines of the car. So I kind of like it, which is rare for me to like the Benny's liveries. Normally, I have trouble finding one that I think really works with the car. Some of my older lowriders, if you see them, you're like, really, Brandon? You have a problem with Benny's liveries? Yeah, but they were new at the time, so it was like, hey, let's slap that livery on there. And you know, I've since then my preferences, my choices in life have become more refined. So yeah. But as far as driving this car up, it's just slow. The back end, a little difficult now and then. A little difficult now and then to get grip if you get on the throttle too hard in a corner. But mainly it's just slow. I mean, it could really use like one lower gear than what it has to kind of really help it climb. Because it seems like the first gear that it has is just too tall. Um, 'Cause it just seems to struggle to put any power down. And of course, like a lot of sedans and sports classics and sports cars and things like that, hitting a bush means it practically stops, which is so annoying. I mean, I get that they can slow you down if your wheels went over them and you know you lost a bit of traction, but I don't know, to graze some grass with your front bumper just doesn't seem like that should slow you down. Peyote kinda started to get itself up there, but then it just couldn't keep it going, and well, things just got worse and worse and worse as I tried in vain to get this car up here. Donkey forgot the rule that you can't help the World Off-Road car, and he did pay the price for that. You'll see that, or you'll hear that in the form of an explosion in just a minute. Well, in about 30 seconds, honestly. But I'm really struggling at this point to get the peyote out of here because of ground clearance issues. Of course, I forgot it's a lowrider, and I could have just lifted it. So instead, I decided to try to come over here and spin it around, and instead got a bit stuck on a tree for a minute, but eventually got it out. And we're going to take a bit of a cheaty line, if ever I can get this car to find grip. Going to take a little tiny cheaty line and say that we're up 4 minutes, 5 seconds. So will the peyote off-road? Yes, but don't do it. Just, unless you absolutely have to, don't do it. And that explosion you heard was Donkey paying the price for helping the Ascent vehicle. Not allowed to do that. And so Sven reminded him of the rules of Will It Off-Road by blowing up his police car. So on our way down, and already that back end proving to be a bit of a liability, and the other liability is going to be the fact that the Peyote still has absolute dog shit brakes. Yes. I mean, it was a struggle to keep the speed down on this thing and not just constantly go out of control. Not that we're going to have, oh, hi, Sven. Not that we're going to have a particularly good controlled descent here, because we're not. Things are going to go wrong. This isn't pretty at all. Nearly ran off right there, and then almost got hit by Commander Hobo. That was a very close call. Sadly, the rest of the calls won't be close. They'll just be, yeah, fails. I managed to completely miss the track, and, well, here we are. Kind of off the trail with no hope of getting back up there. There's no way this car's getting back up that. Look how steep that is. There's just, I thought about it. I thought, let's see, but nah. So I figured, well, let's just try to aim for the trail somewhere down there, maybe, and just kind of skip the mountain altogether. Not really ideal for our purposes, but I think we've already gotten the point of this thing's inability to really handle an off-road situation. So yeah, while it can technically get to the top of the mountain, it's stalled. While it can technically get to the top of the mountain, it's pretty terrible in this environment. Which, I mean, that's fine. It's clearly not made to be an off-roader. And that's not what Willet Off-Road's for. Willet Off-Road's not to be like, oh, we're going to take only off-roading capable vehicles off-roading. No, it's to test out a lot of different things and to see. There's the brakes failing again. Just to see, how different cars do in this situation. And as of this video, we've tested 222 vehicles. No, sorry, 284 vehicles. The Peyote with that ascent time of 4:05 was only 5 seconds faster than the last place car in Sports Classics. So this one came in 23rd out of 24 Sports Classics that we have tested. 5 seconds faster. And of course, that last place car is the regular Peyote. But we're down on our controlled descent. 3 minutes, 2 seconds as all of our friends go flying by in the distance and failing to land it and stuck on the roof. But that makes the Peyote Custom 222 out of 284. So no matter how you look at it, not very good. Glendale did all right. This, no, not so much. It didn't even get a nice start off the mountain. It's just kind of not good. Now it's just going to start shedding body panels. Maybe the weight savings, I don't know, might help it for another run back up. Who knows, because I'll probably never drive this car up and down the mountain again. Except I'll probably totally be driving this car back up and down the mountain again. Because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, starting not next week, the week after that, we're going to race the fastest and the slowest of the past several weeks we were off-road. And I believe this is the slowest. I don't think we've gotten the worst time in this. I'll have to go back and double check which ones are the fastest and slowest. We've already recorded the final actual testing with for next week, which is the Dundee Land Stalker XL, along with the Overflowed in Morgan. And I don't think either one of them are going to be slower than this. And there's not a lot to say about it during the damage descent, other than, it's out of its element here. This is not where you should be driving this car. So, of course, we're bouncing all around, and it's skidding out constantly. And it looks like, it's been beat to hell and back, because it has. Very much so. In fact, Donkey, as a passenger, has even taken damage to his character, as we've had so many crashes. But we are finally down in 1 minute, 44 seconds. So let's take a look at the damage. The windshield and all of the lights are gone as my chair makes a loud popping noise. Both doors missing. Fenders and hood are gone. The front and rear bumpers are both damaged. There is body damage, and it has bent wheels. Donkey decided to fire a gun and kill Spin, and leaving me here with a 1 level. What an absolute dick. There's our support vehicles and the damage that they took. And guys, don't forget to come hang out with us on the Vainglorious Discord server. Whether you play on PC or not, we would love to have you on the Vainglorious Discord server. We have lots of console players there as well. But if you do play GTA Online on PC and you're a member of Discord, you can join us every Sunday afternoon when we record our various community videos. We'd love to have you. But that's going to wrap it up as I call Lester to get rid of this 1 level that Donkey gave me. That's going to wrap it up for this week's Willet Off-Road. Next week, we see the final 2 vehicles.
Hey,
And until then...
how can I help?
Shut up, Lester.
Oh, hey,
Until then... No,
you're in
Lester, I'm
trouble.
talking. Dude.
Okay, I'll deal with it.
Rude. Until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.